Okay. Make sure I hit record. We're going. You guys thought I forgot about this week, but I did not. Okay? I had a little audible today, if you will. So I was thinking of talking about casual sex this week. I was going to ask the question, is casual sex for you? And I also wanted to talk about my favorite thing in the world, which is the slut protocols. If you're trying to have a casual sex relationship or even just casual relationships in general, they really help you from stop catching feels. And I was looking so forward to talking about it, but on the way to school this morning, my daughter said something to me. She said, "Mom, you know how people have FOMO?" And I was like, yeah, the fear of missing out. She said, I was thinking of, just talking about, and she was like, I was thinking of the idea of FOYO. And I'm like, FOYO? And she said, yeah, fun on your own. And it hit me and I was like, wow, that's a really profound thing. And she said, because you can have fun on your own too. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. And I was like, wow, she's so grown for her age. But it made me think about stuff because I have a lot of friends, in this midlife phase that are going through a transition. And even me, just a few years ago, I had a lot of FOMO. And I wish I would have embraced, fun on your own, because it really is such a big deal to love yourself. And as I look and know who you are, as I look around the room with people that I know that are going through situations, or even there's just a lot of people that I think to myself, are they happy with themselves? And also, do they really even know who they are? At 40 something, I think we should kind of know that by now. It's funny. I remember watching episodes of Real World 25 years ago. And a lot of the people on there were struggling with their identity and who are they and what do they want to be when they grow up? I don't know if any of us know the answer to that question, but along the way, you do find yourself. And I couldn't answer that question a while ago. Even 4 years ago when I was going through so much in my relationships and in life in general, I really didn't know who I was. And I think the way that I got to where I am today is I finally started enjoying and learning and loving myself on my own. So let's talk about that today. But first, I want to tell you some hot tales. Okay, so I've told you before, it's really difficult. Mr. Wright and I have opposite schedules. And also, with my daughter home, sometimes it's really hard to get it in. I have these little mini minty bees with Katina, and I'm like, I haven't had sex in 3 days. I'm dying. And, Mr. Wright and I have conversations about it too. It's just sometimes it's difficult to get in. But last week, he was getting home at 9, 10 o'clock, and I made him dinner, and I was like, you know what, when he comes in, I knew he had a really long day. And when he came in, he usually likes to have some downtime. But this day, I said, you know what, no, I'm making a move here. And so he came in, he sat down, and he was just, he was like, hey, and I said, hey, I was like, you know what I really want to do right now? I just hit him right with it as soon as he walked in the door, and he was like, what's that? And I was like, I want your dick in my mouth. And he was like, okay. And started undoing his pants. And we ended up having a really hot session that went from the couch up the stairs into the bedroom. And it just was so nice and felt really good, to get it in and just to be aggressive with him and to be the dominant one. I really love that. Also, I just want to say, if you're in a relationship, I want to remind you and reiterate how the little things go such a long way. Something that I do with Mr. Wright, and he also does with me, is we constantly talk to each other and boost each other up. So whether, I'm trying to do something new or start a new venture or have a fun idea about a show, he's my biggest cheerleader. He's in my corner saying, yeah, go girl, I'm so proud of you. And it means a lot to me. So we had a 3-day stretch where I barely saw him, he barely saw me, and just opposite schedules. And I texted him and I said, hey, I just want you to know I'm thinking of you and I'm so proud of you. You are the reason why your team is having so much success right now. And I just want you to know, you're awesome and amazing. And I'm just so proud of the hard work that you do. And he wrote me back, and it was the sweetest message ever. And he was like, Adrienne, he said, you are my biggest cheerleader and best friend. I don't know what I would do without you in my life, and I love you so much. And it made me feel so good. Sometimes I really believe that those moments of intimacy from across the phone can make me feel just as good. Well, not just as good, but almost after we're having sex. So I just want to remind you that if you're in a relationship, leave your partner a note, send them a text, congratulate them, motivate them, support them, and whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. It really does go such a long way. And then I just want to tell you that I'm feeling really good right now. I'm feeling all glowy today because we have morning sex, and I love that. There's just nothing better than starting the day that way. And so I've been like riding that high. I actually just texted him, speaking of text, and I was like, hey, I can't stop thinking about this morning, and I loved watching you go in and out of me. Little fun stuff like that. And he's so sexy when he climaxes, and so I just reminded him of all of that. So anyway, so having lots of fun. Life has been super busy. I have all these ideas in my head of things that I want to do, and I'm trying a bunch of new sex toys that I am so excited to share with you. I know I've been dangling this carrot. I promise you I'm going to do an episode about it soon. I've been, just going to lots of football games and really enjoying that. If you follow me over on Instagram at Midlife Craving, I try to share as much as I can. I need to get more into social media. I actually have a meeting on Saturday with a friend to talk about social media plans for mine and her business. And I'm going to get back into email marketing. Remember, we are locking in for 2025. I'm also trying really hard only to drink when there's sports or if it's a nice day. I'm trying really, I'm definitely, cutting back. And then I'm just like doing all the things, trying to meet these goals because I'm still locking in for 2025, including getting this episode done today when I'm upstairs making, pasta and meal prepping for the week and chicken cutlets. Okay. But I'm like, I need to get down here and record an episode. And like I said, my daughter just this morning really blew me away with her theory of not having FOMO, fear of missing out, but have FOYO, fun on your own. So let's talk about that today, because one of the things that I wanted to say was, when you're, where's my notes? Hang on a minute. Okay, here we go. When you have, FOMO and you have issues like that, and, you think to yourself, like, am I okay being alone? There's a big difference between being alone and lonely as well. So, being alone is one thing, but you can be alone in a room full of crowded people. And you could be lonely in that room. So I just want to say, like, one of the things that I've noted, and this is a really harsh reality here, is that not being okay with being alone is it is a byproduct of you not liking yourself. And I know that's really hard. And I look back to me when I was dealing with all the stuff with Prince Charming and Mr. July. I didn't love myself. I didn't even like myself, if I'm being honest with you. And it took a lot of practice and self-care and self-love to get me to a point where I was able to love myself fully, be okay being alone. I'm not lonely being alone. And it allowed me to find Mr. Right and to be in the right place to have a relationship with him. And so I just want to say, like, it's really, really hard. And the antidote, by the way, to, you not being okay with being alone and not liking yourself is that, you need to have self-love. And that's the antidote for it. So today we're going to talk about this because it's an issue. And I have a lot of friends that are going through things, and I see them in a transition where they're just like seeking outside validation and on to the next thing and keeping themselves so busy and not wanting to face being alone, and that you're really doing yourself a disservice in your future relationship because you're not healing and fixing yourself and loving yourself and feeling like you're worthy of love. And so you're going to make mistakes in the future, right? You're going to let your boundaries down. You're not going to find, someone, you're going to end up finding someone who's going to take advantage of you, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's a thing, trust me. So today we're going to talk about self-love, and I'm going to give you some ways that you can have and practice self-love. Okay, so I'm going to run down a big list, and I know this can be a little overwhelming, but at the end I want to talk to you about very simple ways just to start having habits because that's really what it's about, to like give yourself the self-love and attention that you need on your own, and so you're not seeking it from others, because that's really just not ever going to end up being a good thing, especially in relationships. I always tell people, I'm like, you can't love someone if you don't love yourself, and the only person that can make you happy is you. If you're constantly seeking your happiness from others, you're going to be so disappointed all the time. So, all right, I want to ask you too, are you happy being alone? Like, do you feel like you love yourself? I feel like we can all do a little work on ourselves, by the way. And so let's start by just letting go of FOMO, right? Like the fear of missing out on things. Who cares if everyone's super busy this weekend, if they're all going to the game, or they didn't invite you to dinner? That's okay. Like, you're perfectly fine on your own. You have your own life. You can do your own things. So we don't want to be having FOMO. And take mindful moments with yourself. I don't know about you, but before I started having self-love, I would do anything to not spend time with myself. Meaning being obsessed with going to the gym, saying yes to every single person who asked me to hang out, and running myself into the ground because I didn't want to have that quiet time alone. Especially when I was going through my divorce, that was a really big thing. And then even after one of the reasons why I did my 60-day no-D diet was because I needed to shut down the noise and quit my own bullshit, So that's another way. But take mindful moments and have some quality downtime with yourself. Okay, I think that is absolutely vital. Another thing is to get active. And again, not be obsessive where it's like all you do is that, 2-a-days and, wearing yourself out. So when you come home, you just pass out because you're so tired, you don't want to be alone. Make it just a small habit every day, right? And get some activity going. It gives you like the free dopamine, and then also it builds your confidence and makes you feel good. So highly recommend that. Another thing I want to say, and I wish I would have done this, but it was really hard because I had my show, is take a little break from social media. Nothing is going to give you FOMO more than scrolling and doom scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And just remember, the land of social media is the world of make-believe, okay? And majority of the people who are happy, look at my amazing life, are the most miserable ones out there. And that's honestly really true. And sometimes it happens to me too, where I'm like, oh, everyone's doing this. I remember when I had my hysterectomy, and even my time, 2023 was like a big health year for me, and I had a lot of downtime. And I was feeling so bad because it was like summer and everyone's at the beach and they're having fun, and I was, not feeling good and by myself. But those are the moments that I wish I would have said, I don't need this. So take a step back, a healthy step back from social media, because it can overwhelm you. Something else that I love, and I feel like this show was my way of finding self-love and self-worth, was be creative, get a goal, and try something new. Anything, right? So do something that makes you feel like you're using your creative juices. I did a paint night the other night with my friends doing Halloween painting. I'm always trying to be creative. I'm helping a friend with her business and naming names for her products just because it makes me feel good and fills my creative cup up. And then, having a goal. It doesn't have to be something like start a podcast, but hey, if you want to start a podcast, I'm your girl, I'll help you out. But something new. Something that will challenge you, that will build your confidence and just make you feel really good about yourself. That's self-love. I really do think that this show is what brought me back to life. And you can actually hear it over the last 5 years. It's going to be 5 years in December, which is insane. But that's what it was for me. And my confidence and worth and just everything about me changed because I finally knew I know who I am. I love who I am. I'm unapologetic, and it's very freeing, right? I'm super liberated, and that's an amazing thing. Something else I want to say too, and when you're in the thick of it, where you're going through a divorce, or you just had a bad breakup, or a family member died, it can feel very isolating and very alone. But I want you to slow down and just take a break in the moment. Like I said, I would pick up 20,000 projects, go to the gym 6 days a week, run myself into the ground, because there was nothing worse than to actually look in the mirror and spend time with myself. And so if you slow down and take that break, it really will help you. Another thing I want to say when, people are having events and weddings and baby showers and, traveling, vacations, and life is so amazing on social media, matching Christmas pajamas. Do yourself a favor and just take yourself out on a date. Go to the movies alone. Go to a concert alone. I will tell you, one of my biggest goals, or I was telling Mr. Wright, I want to travel by myself. Like hop on an airplane. I've seen people do like these 3 to 5 day cruises by themselves. And I'm like, you know what? Like I could totally do that. Like I could pick the boat up in the harbor, go to the Bahamas. I don't know, maybe too soon. I'm not sure. But like, what I want to travel alone. I feel like I can learn a lot from myself doing that. But take yourself on a date. How many of you have never been out to dinner alone? It's the most empowering thing in the world. And I love it. Like you can go to the bar, baby steps, but even going to a table by yourself, it's really, really nice. And I've met some incredible people when I'm out and about on my own. And so take yourself on a date. Highly recommend that. And, when all else fails and you're like, how can I love myself more? I want you to, I'm fully endorsing solo play, self-pleasure. And let me tell you, I have been talking about Coco the last few episodes because I can't get enough of her. She's constantly dying because I'm using her so much. And the reason why is because she's so whisper quiet. And I have an idea for you on something that I've been doing. Because I've been having a little solo play by myself late at night or early in the morning when I'm alone and the house is all quiet. Like I said, Mr. Wright and I have different schedules. But what I love about her is she's so quiet. And this new thing that I've been doing is climaxing and not making a sound and just riding the wave of the orgasm. You guys know and love Mia, and I love the way she describes her orgasm. She's like, Adrienne, it's like these waves of just, amazing and, just feeling so good and like reaching that climax. And it's just like, oh my God, just builds up and then, explodes. And you really get to pay attention to it when you're whisper quiet, just like this vibrator. This is Coco on tracysdog.com. If you don't have her, go get her. You can use code CRAVERS20, that's CRAVERS20 to get 20% off, by the way, of your entire order on tracysdog.com. Get Coco, try her out in a very quiet time and just enjoy, like feel the sensation of your orgasm. Don't make any noise. Try to be very still. Like it's been intense, and I highly recommend it. So that's what I want you to do. Okay. By the way, I love me some orange soda, some Welch's grape. Okay. So I know this can all sound like super overwhelming. Like, Adrienne, you're telling me all these different things I have to do right away. No. But like I said, the best way to build self-love and create a sense of worth for yourself is to just create, these daily routines that make healthy progress. We were talking about, the routines and also just making it a habit, right? So working out, even if it's something small, like I'm going to go for a walk in the afternoon. I actually just bought myself a walking pad for my office. And from now on, when I'm on calls, I'm going to be walking on it. It's just another way for me to get steps in, get some activity. And so if you have to do that, whatever it takes. And then I also love the idea of having one healthy meal a day. Right? It makes you feel good. And also the working out thing and the eating healthy at least once a day builds discipline for yourself and also gives you incredible results. So that's what this is what I'm thinking for you to start making your habit. Okay, so work out, eat healthy once a day, and then think about, are you doing work or something that you enjoy, something that's meaningful every day? So if you don't love the work that you're doing, are you working on a skill, on something that you do? Like think about that. Or a hobby. Like a lot of people don't have hobbies, and try something new. You never know. Because it really does make a difference, these baby steps, and you get to learn about yourself and fall in love with yourself, which we all should be. The relationship we have with ourselves is the most important. Like I don't ever want to forget that. And another thing you could do too is just work on cultivating your relationships with others. My brother and I have gotten incredibly close. We've always been very close, but since my dad passed, we have been inseparable. And I am so appreciative of our relationship and the effort that we put in with each other, with golfing, dinners. You know, when I bought my car, I drove straight to him and showed him, you know, just cultivating that relationship. And like with Zach and Katina and Mia and my lifestyle friends, like keeping in touch and just really building and focusing on those relationships. Even though I'm in a relationship, right? Like those outside relationships are still so important. And I think the most important thing when talking about all of this is that you're just building the habits of growing your self-love and boosting your confidence. It really is true. And like try to take a minute to like look at yourself and think to yourself, like, do I love myself? Do I know who I am? And use some of these ways to help you get there. Because if you don't love yourself and don't have the ultimate self-worth for yourself, how are you going to find a healthy love in the future? Or make the love that you're in now healthier? If you're constantly seeking validation from your partner, and you're insecure, or you know you have those issues, it drains your partner. That's one of the things I think the reason why Mr. Right and I are so successful is because he is his own person. He knows who he is. He loves himself. I am mine. I know who I am and I love myself. And we just do nothing but benefit each other. No, I'm not here saying that he don't get on my nerves sometimes, and I don't get on his. We do. But, you know, at the end of the day, the love and respect that we have for each other, and this is the first real healthy love I've ever had, and I can't help but think about the mistakes I've made in the past, and so I just want to share with you. And self-love and building your confidence is the best thing you can do for yourself. Okay, so next week I'll be back, and I'm going to be talking about, is casual sex for you? And also the sex protocols that truly changed my life and allowed me to have amazing, incredible sex without catching feels. So I will see you guys next week. I'm going to get up there. My daughter just yelled down and said, timer went off, so my chicken cutlets are ready. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Okay. Ooh, my notes were everywhere today.